My name is Ryan McClincy, and with me today we have the one and only Nevadabuck. But before we get into all of that, be sure to like this video, give us a 5-star review. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button here at the top of your screen so that you can keep up with all of the Ohio State content you crave. And with that, Nevadabuck, I know it's been a little while since you and I have spoken. How the hell are you?
I'm doing great. This is an exciting week. It's the Michigan State's always an interesting opponent for me, and to have it be kind of the end of season one, as it were, for this Buckeye season, this is kind of exciting to kind of see where we are for the first half, and then take a little break, and then get into the second half of the season. But I'm excited to know the guys are excited at the Woody Hayes, and this has been a good week of practice already, and I think the Buckeyes are poised for a big effort.
Yeah, the first half. Or the first part of the season, definitely it started off kind of a little slow. I think so, there was a lot of questions still, but I like what I've seen, in the progression and how this team has gotten better. So I'm really excited, especially as conference play starts as well, to see kind of how this team reacts on the road. First true road game at Michigan State. They've had our number in the past, so you can't ever really count them out. But as we'll look kind of with the statistics, I don't think this is your typical Michigan State team to expect. So definitely excited to see how this team bounces as it continues to go and where they grow. But kind of just as we've gone through the week, I know we've posted some of the media audio, but from the media session this week, any specific takeaways that you heard or anything that you made note of specifically, just to keep an eye on this weekend or even beyond, especially with like health concerns with some of these players and when they'll be back?
Well, I think, one of the big things is the running back situation right now, with Trevion, kind of pulling himself out of the game last week, or before the game last week, with a minor injury. And, it's going to be interesting to see how, Mayan's 5 touchdown performance kind of accelerates his healing. And I think, Day and Alford were both kind of alluding to the fact that they were a little surprised by the fact that he couldn't go. So it's a minor injury. It's a day-to-day thing, but the ascension of Mayan Williams has really been a big story this year. He came in as a relatively unheralded recruit. We were one of the first sites that was really on him as a potential elite running back. I mean, the reports that we've gotten were like, "Hey, don't overlook this guy. Don't forget the rankings. I mean, he's as good as anybody." And he just keeps getting better and better and better in every aspect of the game. And, I've said this, a couple times on some other podcasts and some other things, but it's almost a shame that you have such, 2 good running backs, because I do think it hurts the Ohio State running game from a standpoint of, I think they try to do too much when they're out there kind of alternating carries instead of just playing normally within the flow of the game. And I think last week when Mayan he knew he was going to be the guy until the game was completely out of reach. He ran as relaxed and as natural as I've ever seen him, and he was magnificent. Just a terrific virtuoso performance. So by no means am I saying that you don't need to have capable backups, or 2 guys isn't better than one. But sometimes when you got those people looking over their shoulders, it can be a little bit of a distraction, and you don't want this to be one. But that's what I took away from the media things, is that they're putting a little pressure on Trey to say, hey, you got to buckle up and go. And it'll be interesting to see if he can go this weekend or not, because if he's even hurt a little bit, I'd rather he didn't play. But we'll see.
So I'm curious too. Do you think that Trevion kind of made that decision also based on what he saw with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and him coming back maybe a little bit too early for Toledo and kind of re-injuring himself and now being forced to sit out a little bit more? Do you think that factored in at all to him saying, let me take an extra week, get myself really fully healthy and don't risk re-injury in that sense?
Well, that's the thing. I think you're darned if you do and you're darned if you don't. I mean, they went into that game last week as a 40-point favorite. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that, that it wasn't, we could have played with the entire second string and still won that game handily. So from Trey's standpoint, I'd rather he sit out. I mean, we didn't need him last week. Frankly, we don't need him this week. So I'd rather he get 100% healthy and come back when he's ready. And like you noted with the Jackson Smith and Jigba thing, you don't want to come back too early, have something nag and kind of continue on,
Hmm.
because we've got some formidable games up, coming up, certainly, at Penn State, and just, everything in the second half is going to be a little bit tougher than the first half. So no, yeah, I applaud the decision to stay
Yeah.
out if you're not 100% healthy. And, I think he's just got to, he knows his body better than anybody. He's just got to go when he's right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I wish, we could have said the same for JSN there earlier in the year, but hopefully we're able to get him back as well. But no, I agree. I think, it's not an easy decision to make, especially when, you have a guy like Mine Williams who is capable and obviously performed really well, to come in and have to take yourself out so that somebody else can shine. But I think having both of them healthy is going to be really impactful for the rest of the year as well. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what he gets when his carries are kind of ramps back up a little bit more, maybe towards the end of the season as well. Um, but that being said, Michigan State is the first game here of the future. So before we look at later on into the year, we got to get by Michigan State and get out of East Lansing with a win. So I do have some Michigan State stats here that I'm gonna just roll through really quickly. Statistical leaders for the team, just set the stage for what this team has accomplished so far this year. And then we'll dive into kind of the game breakdown and really get your thoughts on how those numbers actually play out on the field. But right now, Michigan State 2-3. They've got their wins against Western Michigan and Akron so far. Those are the first 2 weeks of the season: 35-13 and 52-0 against Akron. Losses at Washington 39-28, Minnesota at home 34-7, and then at Maryland 27-13. Right now, statistical leaders for the team for passing, you've got Peyton Thorne Jr., 6'2", 210. We've seen him a few times now. 64% completion percentage on the year, just over 1,100 yards passing with 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Rushing wise, Jalen Berger's leading the team, sophomore, 6'1", 205, 301 yards for a 5.1 average, 4 touchdowns on the year. And then you've got another running back behind him, Jarek Broussard, who's also taking a good portion of the snaps. He's got about 177 yards, 4.7 average as well. Receiving wise, pretty far and away, the best receiver right now is Keon Coleman for the Spartans. Sophomore, huge kid, 6'4", 210. He's only got 25 receptions on the year for 308 and 3 touchdowns. So they do spread it around a little bit, but he's definitely the leader by far in that room. Defense wise, they've got some pretty decent linebackers. Their leading tackler right now is cornerback Kendall Brooks. He's a senior, 47 tackles, 3 forced fumbles. And then you've got the linebacking trio here. Ben Van Sumeren is a senior, 43 tackles on the year. Linebacker Cal Halliday, sophomore, 43 tackles as well with 1 sack. And then their sack leader is linebacker Jacoby Windman, who has actually 5.5 sacks. So he's 4th in the nation right now with the sack numbers, and then also 1st in the nation with forced fumbles with 5 on the year. 27 points per game, giving up 22.6, about 250 yards passing, 127 yards rushing. Defense giving up just over 400 yards per game as well. And then just some of the national rankings, total offense, they're 92nd right now in total offense. Total defense, they're actually at right at number 100. And all the numbers, passing, rushing, defenses, all of them kind of, huddle right around those same numbers as well. So pretty low when it comes to the actual national rankings and what they're doing. And that's a lot of ways to just say that this is not a really good Michigan State team, as we all kind of know going into this weekend. But they have bitten us in the past, so I will never count out Sparty. But from the numbers, from what you've seen on the field so far, I mean, how do those numbers play out on the field, and what do you expect from this team on Saturday?
Well, as you said, it's not a great team. The problem is that, Ohio State knows they're not a great team. These players all read the same stats that we do. They use the internet. It's not like they're unaware of Sparty's struggles. But I think, Ohio State's really treated this almost like a bowl week prep, and they've really ramped up the intensity. They're really, really mindful of the fact that the players are eyeing that bye week, and they want to make sure they don't check out too quickly, mentally before the game. And so Ryan, Jim Knowles have really pushed up the pressure this week, which I think is a very positive sign for a big Ohio State effort. I've had a pretty good handle on this Ohio State team this year, and I really think that the biggest problem for Michigan State is going to be just lack of speed on both sides of the ball. And for teams that if you don't have a really elusive quarterback, if you don't have a big time running back, if you don't have people in the defensive backfield that can run, then you're going to have a long day. Now, the weather looks like it's going to be fine, so it's not like we're going to be penned in some sort of a early winter storm or wind event.
Shades of 2015.
Yeah, I think people laugh about the weather stuff, but weather's the great equalizer and I think that should be a non-factor, which is great. I expect Michigan State to try to pull out all the stops, kind of a la Rutgers. You want to watch out for the fake punts and the fake field goals and the onside kicks and all the shenanigans. But that would just delay the inevitable. I think Ohio State's going to roll big in this one. I think CJ is going to get back on track. I think they've been working on some easier throws with him this week, getting rid of the ball earlier. They've kind of shaved a couple of yards off the route concepts. They've actually been working on, I know I've been calling this for a long time, but those easy swing passes to the running backs for those easy completions. And so I think CJ is going to bounce back from what was really kind of a subpar effort last week with a big effort this week. And I've got Ohio State rolling in this one 56-14, and we head into the bye week on a high note.
I'll say, yeah. So you have them covering 26.5. Yeah, it's pretty.
I think,
well covered there.
I think they're going to cover. I think they're going to cover comfortably.
I have them covering as well. I've got 45-13. I think kind of similar to last week. It's going to get out of hand pretty early, and there won't be too terrible need to continue scoring in the second half and keep the starters in. You might get those guys out there and get some of the second guys in and get them reps on the road as well. So you see this more, I guess, then do you think Ryan Day kind of emphasizes more of the pass this weekend with, having a more kind of run heavy focus last week? Do you think we kind of get back into that realm?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the big change this year offensively has been the increasing influence of Kevin Wilson on the OSU game planning and play calling. And Kevin is just a huge proponent of taking what the other teams are giving to you. And the running game was really a subject and a factor of that's what presented itself. So you got to take it. And I think we saw last week the few times that we struggled was when we were trying to force the pass. Yeah. And I think Kevin has really gotten into Ryan's head where we know Ryan likes to pass. We know he's a pass first guy, but I think if they're playing that too high shell and they're going to give us the run, they're going to play a light box, 6 guys in the box, then we're going to run and we're going to run a lot. And so I think it's really going to be dictated by how Michigan State plays defensively, how the game's going to play out. But Ryan wants to get CJ his yards. I think your score estimation is not a bad one because I think Ryan's taken a little bit of flack about getting guys out there a little bit earlier, and also about running up the score fairly or unfairly. I think he's taken some criticism for that, and the coaches hear that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting game, but it's going to be a game that's never in doubt. But first game on the road, you just don't want to keep Michigan State. Don't give them some big play early to give them any hope that they want to even stay in this game. Let's just extinguish it. Let's get up 21-0 and make them try to pass their way out of it and really make it kind of a snoozer type of game. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I think is going to happen. And I really think the Buckeyes are poised for a big effort.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I love the Kevin Wilson note because I do think that's been you've seen a lot more of that, and it's been kind of one of the things too that has kept me sane at times because I do think Ryan Day tends to have a tendency to force the pass in situations where it doesn't, and it gets the team out of rhythm, and then opponents can hang around a little bit longer than they would otherwise. And seeing us, especially last week, just have that emphasis on the run and be able to win a game, with that much focus on that game or on that game plan. think was really, really impactful. And please, Kevin Wilson, not Kevin Warren. Don't do that. Kevin Wilson, please, get more involved and rein it in a little bit more, because I think it more kind of control and consistency around both aspects is really important. And I think CJ will have his bounce back game. I think his numbers will definitely be there, especially earlier in the game. But I agree with you there, and I think it'll be a runaway by the end of it.
Yeah, well, we're so lucky to have Kevin Wilson, and I just I enjoy every season that he's here, because talk about a guy who's he could be a head coach just about anywhere he wanted to be, and to have an elder statesman like that helping out with the OSU offense is really a blessing, and something I've thoroughly enjoyed this season.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical when he came at first, because I believe he came from Indiana, correct?
Correct.
And I was a little skeptical at first, but I've loved having him on staff. He's definitely proved a lot of people wrong, and I think he's flown largely under the radar for the most part. And the fact that he's enjoyed it enough to stay and keep making his impact known is really a testament to the culture and the staff that Ryan Day's put together with this team. So Nevada, that's all I had for today. Thank you again for joining us here this morning and talking through kind of the game preview and giving us your thoughts and predictions here. Definitely always love having you, and look forward to having you on again.
Well, thank you very much, and go Bucks, and appreciate everybody, all the support for BuckeyeScoop.com. It's really kind of humbling to see the numbers that we're doing with views and members and subscriptions. And so I just want to sincerely thank everybody for standing behind us and really believing in the product. It's been great and truly appreciated.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of really exciting things happening, a lot of really exciting new additions. So if you haven't been keeping up, definitely check out the website, BuckeyeScoop.com. Go to the Ask the Insiders board, read through some of those posts, and really get a feel for all of the fantastic things that are in the works. So we are all very excited here, and couldn't do it without the support and viewership that you all provide. And we're always happy to continue to provide it as long as you continue to listen. So with that, again, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching as well. As I mentioned, be sure to check out BuckeyeScoop.com, check out the Ask the Insiders board, and join the community of incredible Buckeye fans that are all clamoring on the premier site for all of your Ohio State needs. And be sure to subscribe to the Morning Scoop podcast. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as to our YouTube channel for the most up-to-date video and additional content from some of these new contributors that will be hitting your airwaves shortly. But as always, I'm your host, Ryan McClincy. And until tomorrow, go Bucks.